A bad idea, and you guys enable me, so this is all your fault. It's not my fault that I'm making it. It's your fault that you gave me this idea. You guys thought of it and gave it to me. So don't worry. I mentally linked to all of you. No, I'm just kidding. So you probably saw the title. I'm going to get more into context, but it's going to be a female deku. Female Izuku. It won't be a one-shot. This is the only edition of this series. She's going to be stupid overpowered, by the way. Yeah, so don't worry. It's going to be over quick. Oh, more like an hour, maybe an hour and a half of me talking to you guys. But if you're new to my channel via this, what if, enjoy. If you don't like my voice, I'm sorry. My voice is just how it is. If you don't like my personality, I'm sorry. I'm just me. If you don't like any of the content I make, I'm sorry. But if you do enjoy my content, please consider liking, subscribing, and leave a comment. I try to get to the comments as much as possible. But I'm currently working on an overlord where I'm an overlord. You guys, damn you guys, you want me to be a berserker. I don't want to be a berserker. Currently working on that. But it's going to be my first overlord, what if. But we're going to My Hero Academia, or Boku no Hero Academia. Can't really say it with the accent, but so we go to a 16-year-old girl who's currently walking down the street, going to her middle school, it's her graduation day where she goes on to high school. And she sees 3 heroes. Kamui Woods, Mount Lady, and Death Arms. Death Arms comes into play later. You'll see why, and you'll think it's hilarious. Hopefully. But Kamui Woods is trying to use his lacquer chain prison. And she's just in the back and puts her hand into like a praying style hand seal. And all of a sudden, the wooden, basically twigs that he makes, that is reinforced with lacquer and so on, immediately grow actual trees on them, completely binding him. So Mount Lady can't get the glory. Kamui Woods' cat gets the glory, but he's completely confused because that's not his ability. He can't grow trees. He can just manipulate wood. So she walks off and happy that she stopped somebody and non-lethally stopped somebody. So she arrives at school. Katsuki, he's still a dick, but he knows not to fuck with her. So we go to when she's walking home. So she's walking home, and it looks like she's talking to herself. And she does this all the time. Everybody knows her as the weird one who stands in the corner and talks to herself. But she also has another name. The Prankster Queen. She is also known for doing the most elaborate pranks possible. That everybody knows she's doing them, but they don't have any form of evidence whatsoever. There's no doors being picked. There's no DNA being left behind. Everything is just so elaborate and so complex and no evidence whatsoever. No blood, no skin, no nothing. But they do know one thing about her that has not changed whatsoever. She was nice and kind when she was little, but then she started getting into pranks and started talking to herself. But the one thing that has never changed over her entire life is you mess with any of her friends or her family, you get your ass kicked. You won't be sent to the hospital for never, but you get your ass kicked. A burglar broke into their home. He was in the hospital for shooting her mother in the arm. He's in the hospital for a month. Her adoptive father, that's important, Death Arms, was captured by villains and held hostage for his agency. Not even 3 hours after the Midoriyas got the call was he free and at his agency again, not knowing what the hell happened. And yes, Death Arms is a lot older in this one. He's known as the protection hero, mainly doing support. So he's in the back lines, helping, coordinating, and making sure people aren't in the way. He has a tactical mind, but he has a strength quirk that allows him to, if a car is flying towards him, he can run in front of the car and stop it. Unless it's going at supersonic speed, just then there's really nothing he can do. It's already past him. So he's a low-level hero, but he's known for being tactical. So, here's where it gets funny. Hisashi Midoriya, her biological father, left Inko when she was diagnosed quirkless. Well, not really quirkless, but with a useless quirk. What they didn't know is that her quirk didn't manifest fully. Her quirk was registered as a weak regeneration quirk. Like you cut your arm, it heals 2 times faster. That was her base healing speed. But, this is a very big but. When her quirk fully manifested, she didn't want to go back to the quirk doctor because she thought he was a quack and didn't know anything about his job. She unlocked her quirk fully. The night she did, she felt searing pains on her arms, and you'll understand that in a second. And yes, it will look like tattoos like you see in the picture, but not those tattoos exactly. Searing pains on her arms, her back, her legs, everywhere, including her stomach. You see the tattoos that Naruto Uzumaki has when he goes 6-path sage mode, except for the whisker marks on her face. Now, what you see there is 4 black dots where her freckles used to be. And all these tattoos have a specific use, which I'll tell you later. But she thought he was a quack doctor. She didn't go back. But she started using her quirk, figuring out what she can do with it. And she found out she can manipulate life energy. And she kept using it and using it and using it. Finally, one day, she was exhausted from it and fell down flat. She was rushed to the hospital. They asked what her quirk was, and Inko's like, the doctor didn't know what he was talking about. This is her true quirk. She's been able to do this for a good 6 months. In her coma, her semi-coma, it's going to last like 2, maybe 3 days. She meets 3 people. Well, technically 4 because, well, duh. I'm going to give her Kurama. Kurama is kind of sealed in Naruto's soul. Duh. But she gets Kurama. She gets Hashirama Senju, Ashura Otsutsuki, and Naruto Uzumaki in her mindscape. And they go, yo! Kurama is like, what? And then busts the gut when he figures something out. Hashirama takes a few seconds. He figures it out. Ashura is just confused on why they're laughing. Naruto just doesn't get the joke whatsoever. Kurama immediately looks at them and goes, "You two are idiots. All three of your souls got turned into a girl's." All of a sudden it dawned on Naruto and it dawned on Ashura. Ashura was like, yay, for I don't know why. And Naruto just, his eyes started twitching. Like the Uzumaki genetics and their personality. His eyes just start to twitch. So, she met them in her mindscape. And no, it is not a sewer. What it is the Hidden Leaf Village. With a giant shrine on top of the Hokage Mountain. Where Kurama is placed. He's not sealed. No. The seal's completely gone. He just came along for the ride. Because he didn't want to stay in the Shinigami's stomach. So, he's put there. I'm not going to say sealed. He's put there. And he was put there by his own wanting. And now he gets to see Naruto Uzumaki, Hashirama Senju, and basically his brother as a female. And he's busting a gut laughing. He's rolling around on the ground. Finally, he's okay. I need a more comfortable form to talk to you guys. And he shrinks down into a female. I'll tell you why in a second. And yes, she's going like other females. You'll see why in a second. Actually, no, you're not going to see why, because that's a rabbit hole I'm not going to go down. But she already has a girlfriend by the time she gets into UA. Just so you know. Kurama shrinks down and is a female. And goes, this is a lot more comfortable. But I was genderless when I was unsealed. Right when I became sealed, I turned into a female. It's really weird. Naruto busts the gut laughing. Hashirama is like, oh. Okay. Ashura starts busts the gut laughing too, because Ashura remembers the nine-tailed carnivorous bunny rabbit from when he was still alive, and knows that Kurama is very, very, very temperamental. And yes, she looks like Kushina Uzumaki. Not Mito, Kushina. And yes, very voluptuous. Voluptuous body. When is she not? But so that goes on. She starts talking to them. They teach her stuff about the chakra, and all of a sudden her chakra skyrockets. But the thing is, she has the chakra control of Tsunade. So her chakra control is way too high for how big her how should I say this? Amount is. She has the amount of Kurama, Naruto, Hashirama, and Ashura times 10. All together. She ain't dying anytime soon. So, brain freeze. No. Technically brick wall. I slammed into that. But she learns from Naruto the chakra controls, all that crap, because his favorite move is Rasengan. So it basically is a chakra control. So she learns all that in her mind for the first 2 days. She goes home the next few years. She becomes really well versed in chakra. She knows everything about it. She learned wood style. She learned lava. She learned boil. She learned swift, dust. Kuruma gave her a gift. And yes, I'm giving her a special gift. Kuruma changed her DNA. She doesn't live any longer than a normal human. Damn. That'd be fucking hilarious. A 2,000-year-old woman just looking like she's still in her teens. Slapping people who look like older than her and don't know her age. That'd been freaking hilarious. But no. She's going to live double her normal life. And yes, she's going to look the same. Once she hits 18, she's going to look the same for the rest of her life. But, that's big but, Kuruma gave her a new form. This new form allows her to connect directly to the planet. And I'll talk to you guys about that later. So, it's been 12 years since that day. That basically happened. And the sludge villain happens. He attacks her. And she's currently working on building up her chakra reserves even bigger. Because she knows that if she starts going all out, she maybe has 10, 20 minutes of straight fighting of all out with her strongest attacks before, yes, she has attacks that strong that cost that much chakra before she passes out from exhaustion. And yes, continent destroying attacks. And she knows there's villains out there that can stand that. So, this guy comes out and she sensed him before he even came out of the sewers. And she used the smallest drop possible of nature chakra and shoved it into him. His body completely froze, and the excess sludge that is in his original body just kept falling off of him very slowly, and soon he turned into a guy. A guy with green hair, yellow eyes, and a normal body. And then she clapped her hands together and said, not lacquered chain prison, wood binding prison. And so she sensed something coming at her, really big energy levels coming at her. And all of a sudden it came flying out of the sewers, and it was All Might. All Might saw this scene of a naked guy in a prison right in front of this girl. In a wooden box prison thing. And she looks at All Might and goes, "Sludge guy." And he goes, "Oh, what?" Completely confused on what's happening. So she explains, I have an ability that allows me to, what you call, cancel mutation quirks for a little bit. But depending on how severe the mutation quirk is, I can edit it. Well, not really edit it, but change it a little to make it more beneficial to the person. I just gave him the ability to turn his body back into human. But he loses all excess sludge he has collected. And All Might's like, huh, why is he knocked out? The transformation takes a lot of energy. So, there you go. So, All Might's like, okay, picks up the box, and she goes, "Can I heal that, though?" And he goes, "Heal what?" And she walks right up to his side. Her hand starts glowing green. Yes, that kind of green. And then it starts glowing greenish orange. And he starts feeling intense pain where his lungs are, then his stomach, then his side, and all of a sudden staples and thread just start blowing out of his t-shirt, and he sees where it is, and all of a sudden all that scarring turns into just like this spiral mark where his gut was, where his injury was. And he goes, "What did you do?" And she goes, "I healed it." Well, technically I used something else to heal it. I used the power of the earth and one of my friends in my head. And he thinks, is she okay? In my head, yes, in her head, guessing you know who that is, because he basically regrew a heart for Naruto. And gave you the energy, and your body just regenerated. So I'm off home because my mother's going to get pissed if I'm not home, and my father is going to be worried. And I promised them not to be late or start any pranks lately. So I'll be back here maybe 8 o'clock, 9. And she just darts off. She reaches home. Inko's completely worried because she noticed the lacquer chain prison isn't the normal lacquer chain prison. And Death Arms walks right up to her in his civilian clothes and goes, "I am mad and proud. I don't know which one to feel more right now." And she goes, "Probably pride." And he goes, "Yeah, you're right. You're still grounded. No pranks, or you're grounded even longer." Just damn. And runs to her room. So, roughly 8 o'clock, she sneaks out and goes back to that underpass. And All Might appears with Recovery Girl and Naomasa. Naomasa sees her and immediately walks away, be like, "Nope, I ain't dealing with this crap. I ain't dealing with it." And Recovery Girl's like, "Okay then." And she asks Girl, "Are you the one that healed All Might?" And she goes, "Yes." It puts a lot of strain on the organs that are regrowing. So give it like a day or two, and then you can use your quirk and make sure that it doesn't strain itself anymore. But I say that give him a month or two and he's back to full condition. Maybe even back into his prime. Because I know he ain't in his prime. He's friggin' 40, maybe 50 years old. And All Might's like, forgot I'm this old. So Recovery Girl's like, "Would you mind coming to UA tomorrow and well, basically meeting somebody?" And she goes, "If you're talking about Nezu, the principal of UA, and helping with the healing of UA, and then you'd have to talk to my parents." And she gives them all the details and information. Like, "Don't tell them I gave you this information, because they won't be pissed that I'm out of my room when I'm supposed to be grounded. So, see you guys later," and darts off. And we go to the next morning. Yes, the next morning. And the entire town, or city, or whatever you want to call it, hears someone cuss so loudly that they just hear someone else start laughing her ass off, which was Bakugo and his mother. And Mitsuki, I think it's Mitsuki, Bakugo's mother, is just like, "I gotta give her that $20. And Masaru's like, what did you do now?" And she goes, "I bet $20 that she couldn't prank Bakugo because he's starting to bump up his game of being paranoid." And Masaru's just like, I'm done. I ain't dealing with this right now. So he walks away. He walked away. He's not dealing with that crap. And so we go 4 blocks down, and Death Arms hears the giant just loud freaking cussing and looks at his adoptive daughter and goes, "You pranked Bakugo again, didn't you?" And she goes, "There's no evidence to support that claim," and finished up eating and walked out. All of a sudden, he gets a phone call, and he sees it's Nezu from UA. So he answers it, and Nezu's like, "Can we talk to your daughter?" And he goes, "What did she do now?" And he goes, "She apparently healed All Might." And Death Arm's like, "What? What? Wait, what? Can you please explain?" He goes, "Bring her to UA and... never mind, she's apparently at UA's entrance. Just get here now, and we'll explain." And Death Arm's like, "God damn it. She teleported again." And we go to UA, where she basically Hiraishi herself to UA. And yes, she doesn't need the seal markers. She just has a few on her hands. She claps her hands together and she can teleport wherever the hell she wants. Because she uses a special different formula that allows her to teleport wherever the hell she wants. So she teleported right into Aizawa's office when he isn't there. She changed all of his sugar packets into salt packets. She changed all of his really strong coffee into chocolate milk. And she changed all of his creamer into laxatives. Then she went over to Mike's desk and she changed all that stuff around. All of his songs. This is all like, all their desks are being flip-flopped. Midnight likes chocolate, hot chocolate, and salty foods. Aizawa likes coffee and sugary foods. Mike likes hard rock, maybe some classic rock, maybe even some rap. Cementos likes classical, smooth jazz, and all the soft stuff. Vlad King. Oh, Vlad King. He is a medical student. He is on the cusp of writing a thesis on why certain things should not be classified as quirks. Like mutation quirks. He's writing how it should not be classified as a quirk and more of an ability. And so on and so on. All that's put into Recovery Girl's office. She isn't there at the moment. They're currently discussing this amongst the staff. Recovery Girl stuff, which is medical texts about how to heal, how to basically help the body, how to make everything work better, is all in Vlad King's desk now. And she walks right into the meeting and goes, "I am here." And looks at All Might and goes, "Huh. You really should buff down because you're still putting strain on your organs." And everybody snaps towards her and goes, "What?" And he's like, "Just do it." And he does, and he starts coughing. And she immediately walks to him and puts a green glowing hand on his chest where his lungs are, and his coughing goes away. And she goes, "You shouldn't do that for a good week or two to make sure everything is healed." And Recovery Girl's like, "I told him the same thing." She looks at Recovery Girl and goes, "Huh. You are a lot kinder and a lot meaner than I thought you were." Everybody just immediately snaps their head towards Recovery Girl. Recovery Girl goes, "When they're hurting themselves 24/7, I kind of want to whoop their butts." And yes, Izumi is like, I completely understand. My name is Izumi Midoriya. I'm the one who healed All Might. And I'm guessing you guys are just discussing me? And Nezu's like, yes. He pulls out a chessboard. She pulls out a deck of cards. And goes, I'm not a chess player. Game of poker? And Aizawa's like, you can't be! And she goes, I'm guessing you are sleep-deprived zombie 34. And he goes, you little shit! And she looks at Midnight and goes, feel like I've seen you before. Oh yeah! That poker sting you did! And she goes, wait, what? What poker sting? She goes, oh, the one in there, XXXX, and so on. I'm not telling you actually coordinates because don't. Remember that guy that just disappeared? She summons a shadow clone and makes it transform into that guy and goes, I love that strip poker game. It just poofs out of existence. And they all look at her and go, you are the luckiest girl in the entire freaking world. And she goes, I get that from my ancestors. Just Naruto and Kurama are busting your gut laughing from the inside. Hashirama's just on the ground drawing circles. Ashura's like, I don't get the game. He's losing all the time, but I don't get the game. Hashirama's like, he's got the devil's luck. So, we go 10 minutes later. Everybody's about to leave, and she goes, oh, I saw someone rummaging through your desks while I was walking up here. And they all snap their head towards her, and they're like, you touch our stuff, you die. She goes, I didn't do any of it. So, they run out to get to their desks, and all their stuff is switched. They don't know whose stuff is whose, because none of them tell each other what they like and what they dislike. And Nezu's like, as long as you didn't touch my desk. She goes, you know, that cheddar cheese was really good. His eyes widen, being like, you better not. Or I swear to the gods that you are not having a fun time at UA. He goes, He goes into a desk, sees a block of cheese. Nothing looks wrong with it. He tries to pick it up. He can't move it. So he tries even harder. And finally, he pulls it out, but only top half, where he sees nails in it. He looks at her and goes, you're dead. She goes, I ain't doing shit. So Death Arm finally arrives 5 minutes after that fiasco, and they're all glaring at her, and he goes, God damn it. You pulled a prank, didn't you? She goes, there's no evidence to support that claim. And Aizawa's like, what the hell happened to our recording? She goes, you have no evidence to support that claim. But in her mind, she's like, crap, I didn't remember about the security cameras until they brought that in. And Naruto's like, at least you beat the rat thing, so you got his passwords. I love that you did that. In her mind, and she just starts mumbling to herself, and he goes, God damn it, she's talking to the voices in her head again, didn't she? She's like, I know. You know, that password of cheese is the god does not really suit Nezu very much. And everybody just stares at Nezu and goes, how does she know your password? And he goes, I don't really... Wait. Please tell me you're not Kurama Uzumaki, are you? She goes, meh. He goes, God, you're the only one that ever beat me in chess. And everybody's just looking at her like, what the hell are you? She goes, I don't remember. It's been a while since I played chess. Oh, never mind. It's been 30 minutes. And they all look at her like, what? What? She goes, don't you remember? A shadow clone poofs into existence, being like, I can duplicate myself. All of a sudden, they just see a giant ectoplasm being like, where is it? She goes, I really should not have taken that. And they all look at her and go, what did you take? And he goes, did any of you know ectoplasm uses a voice changer? They all look at her like, no. She goes, then most of you probably didn't know, but ectoplasm fakes his gender. And they all go, wait, what? And she goes, yeah, ectoplasm's actually female. And she pulls out a remote, and she goes, remote for his voice changer. Turns it off. They hear a soft feminine voice instead of the deep manly voice. And ectoplasm hears it and goes, shit. And shrinks down his clone into multiple and goes, find it. They'll run around the school looking for a specific... Yes, Greenette. She's still green-haired. Her tattoos are a deep forest green, but when they glow a nice, soft green. Nice, soft, deep forest green. I know that sounds weird, but it's a very pretty color. She immediately throws it at Nezu and goes, there is no evidence to prove that I took it. Nezu's holding it, and immediately ectoplasm kicks down the door. The original ectoplasm kicks down the door and sees Nezu holding the voice changer remote and immediately tackles Nezu and grabs it and turns it back on. Yes, it's going to get funny. It's going to get funnier. And she goes, well, I'm going to the nurse's office because someone apparently is requiring Recovery Girl. She picks up Recovery Girl like a stuffed animal and goes, we'll see you in a sec. Claps her hands together and poof, they're gone. Not actually poof, but a dark green flash. And he goes, I really hate when she does that. And they all look at him like, what? And he explains her quirk. Her voice is in her head. And he explains that there is apparently a vixen in her head, a nine-tailed vixen. There's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed kid stuck in her head named Naruto Uzumaki. There's a brown-haired, tan guy stuck in her head named Hashirama Senju. And a brown-haired, pale-skinned guy named Asura Otsutsuki. Not to mention the nine-tailed vixen in her head named Kurama. Apparently she talks to them all the time, and they talk to her all the time. And those are the only friends she needs. So, he explains her life, how she's been, what she does for fun. And they all get to know her and who she really is. And I was like, okay, we're going to have to start talking to each other of what our likes and dislikes are. We're going to have to be less professional in this room because, well, we got a prankster coming. So, here's the idea. My coffee, my sugar, and my creamer are all mixed up. My coffee's turned into hot cocoa. My creamer, I forgot what I gave him his creamer as, and my sugar is completely covered in salt. And she goes, my salt's been changed into sugar. My hot cocoa's changed into coffee. Yeah, hot chocolate changed into coffee. It's a very interesting thing. Yeah, another interruption. Sorry about that. I'm back. It's fine though. I can't really stop my mother or my sister to come out to the garage. Normally I'm in the backyard, but it's been currently raining. Yeah. So, Cementos and Mike switch back. Vlad and Recovery Girl switch. They all know what they like, they all know what they hate, and they all know how to get along better now. And she pops out of nowhere being like, see? My pranks do have a good solution. And they all stare at her and just start death staring her, be like, you just admitted to it. She goes, you have no evidence to support that claim. They're like, there's 30 people in this room. She goes, that's what you think. All of a sudden, paint bombs start going off. And she transforms into a little squirrel and darts. Hound Dog, yes, Hound Dog, sees the squirrel and just goes after it. Because mutation quirk and yeah. Starts barking, the squirrel just goes faster, Hound Dog goes even faster. And everybody that's currently been in the classes doing extra credit, homeroom and just on campus, just sees the squirrel and a hound dog covered in forest green paint, orange paint, brown paint, and yes, I'm going to do it, gray paint. Just run by, dripping paint, barking at a squirrel, and the squirrel is just darting off. Nezu's like, I'm gonna hate this child. So we go to the entrance exams. And it's passed the written. She aced the written. Yes, she's going to ace it. She's going to be smart. She's going to be smart. But she aced the written exam. She's now on the practical. She starts talking to all the females, hyping them up. Yes, she could see Hagakure. And yes, she will be able to see Hagakure completely. Uh-huh. Yes. So she walks up to Hagakure and goes, you have beautiful hair. Hagakure freezes, being like, you could see me? And she goes, yeah, why? She goes, I'm invisible. She goes, no, you're not. You're right here. She touches Hagakure's head, which was to the left. And Hagakure freezes again, be like, you can actually see me. She starts getting hugged by Hagakure, and she's crying and weeping because no one's ever been able to see her, not even herself. She finally asks, what color is my hair? She goes, it's a beautiful white. Pure white. And she goes, what color is my eyes? And she goes, it's a beautiful red. And she's asking all these things about herself, and she's giving all the details. And yes, that's the shit for this. No, I'm not doing any romantic crap because I don't want to. So they get along really well. Ochako's pumped up because of her. They all get into the arena, and She just claps her hands together. This is the sign that she's been using ever since she was little. She just does it by habit now. She can use all of her jutsus and all of her knowledge by just muscle memory, but this is completely habit. So she claps her hands together, and an entire army of herself comes into play. And they just start ripping the robots apart and doing all this crap. Nobody but her gets points. Nobody but her. So the teacher's like, okay, we need to do something different because this area, nobody but her got points. So, yes, we are going to have a different roster. This what if. So they go in, the teachers are like, since nobody here got points, we are changing the exam for everybody except for Izumi Midoriya. Izumi's like, yes, I did what I wanted to. And they all hear this, except for the teachers. And they're all like, so she was trying to make us fail? So the teacher's like, we know that this is not the perfect test. We know that this really shouldn't be the test, but there's no other way besides testing over 2,000 applicants with just one person per teacher. And your goal is to do your best. We don't care if you win. We don't care if you lose. Just do your absolute best. So they get a pep talk, and the teachers test them. Shinso makes it. Higakure makes it with flying colors. But she leaves the area and she sees, yes, I'm giving her this. She sees Izumi passed out with a nosebleed and she's confused. And one of her clones just appears and goes, I'm guessing during this test you took off your clothes to become completely invisible, right? And Higakure's like, yeah. The clone explains to her that she has the ability to look 359 degrees around her. And she's not explaining where the last degree is because that's a weak point. She doesn't want to tell anybody about that. And she explains that she has the ability to look through walls. And she saw the entire fight. Higakure's face goes beet red, even though nobody can see it. So she goes, don't worry, just go. And she goes, wait, hold on, never mind. She pulls out the phone from her pocket and gives Higakure her number. Puts the phone back and goes, I'm going to kick her awake. I suggest you be somewhere else because she explodes whenever someone kicks her awake. Higakure's like, okay, did you put my number in there? And she goes, yeah, I did everything. And so Higakure leaves, and all of a sudden, she just hears a sonic boom. And Izumi, the original body, slams into a wall. Completely fine, by the way. Completely fine. But she slammed into a wall. She immediately bolts up, ready for a fight, and her clone just is there snickering because she used her full strength. Yes, she's stupid overpowered. She has Byakugan, and yes, she will have Tensegan when she goes full mode. So, so we go to, how should I say this? First day of UA. Higakure and Izumi have gone out, talking, enjoying her time. While she's with Higakure, Kurama, Naruto, Hashirama, and Asura are all quiet. They stay out of it. They don't know what's going on. So yeah. She walks into the one a classroom and shows Hagakure a drawing and says, "This is you in color." Hagakure sees the white hair, the semi-tanned skin, the red eyes, and she starts crying, saying, "Thank you for allowing me to see myself." But I know I'm loud. Sorry, I completely forgot my noon alarm went off. Yeah, it's noon right now. I'm currently recording this roughly noon, maybe even a little after. So, she sees herself. Aizawa walks in and just death stares Izumi, being like, "You, lady, have to have a tracking bracelet on you at all times." Throws it at her. And she goes, "But why?" And he goes, "Because if you don't, you're not allowed to be at UA." Damn it. She puts the bracelet on, and immediately Bakugo starts cackling madly. And she appears right behind him going, "You have an issue?" And what's so funny? He immediately freezes, going, nothing whatsoever. And she goes, "Good. Now shut up, Pomeranian." And Aizawa's like, "Okay, for everybody, there's a packet on your desk with school rules. But for you, you must be with a teacher at 24/7, 7 days a week, no matter what." She goes, "You forget I can duplicate myself, right?" He goes, "Damn it. No indiscriminate quirk usage. It's against the law." She goes, "You have absolutely no proof that I use my quirk outside of quirk allowed areas. So, ha!" He goes, "Damn it." In her mind, she's like, "Shit, this bracelet's gonna be an ass to use to get around." Naruto's like, "Oh, that's easy. You just use the jutsu while it's in midair and not touching your skin." And everybody looks at him going, "What?" Except for Izumi. She just goes, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, while I was using the jutsu, I found out that most of my clones don't get the necklace that Granny gave me." Yeah, he looks at Hashirama, "Your necklace." "When it's flying in midair. If it's not touching my skin, even though it will stay on me, it doesn't get copied." And she just grins in reality. And Aizawa's like, "Shit, she figured something out, didn't she?" So, yeah, that's going to be fun. So, they do the test. She's number one, obviously, because she's fucking overpowered. And yes, she gets infinity. She made a clone of herself turn into a bird. Hold on, actually. She made a clone of herself, and she threw it. She turned on her chakra cloak from her Tentagon and used it to fly into orbit and throw the ball completely. So, yeah, it left the atmosphere. It gets infinity. He goes, "I technically can't dock you points for that, because you technically did not leave the circle." She goes, "Heh." Ochakra got infinity, grip strength, she breaks the machine, speed, chakra cloak. Well, technically she could just teleport, but chakra cloak, she blitzes it in 0.0001 second. Yeah, she's fucking ridiculous. But we go to a week later. Hero studies! Woo! And Amit runs in the door. "I'm coming through the door like a normal person." And gets a paint bomb to the face. And this ain't just any normal paint balm. This is paint ink balm. So it starts changing colors. Pink, yellow, green, purple, blue, and so on, just randomly. And yes, there's even a black one. But no, it is not black facing. Don't you dare. It is paint that got slammed into someone's face that he cannot take off yet. Because she's not allowing him to. So don't worry. But we go to maybe 10 minutes after. She's in her shinobi clothes. Yes, she has shinobi clothes. She looks like a mixture between Kurenai Yuki's dress, Anko Mitarashi's outfit, her trench coat, and the fourth Hokage's vest. So everything is earthy tones. She has what looks like to be a mummy outfit on underneath her flak jacket and her trench coat. So yes, she looks very freaking weird. And yes, it's all skin tight except for the trench coat. That is very big on her. So she walks out and she's been working on her chakra so much that just her mere presence when she has chakra flowing through her clothes to keep them durable and just to look cool, everybody's at peace. Her chakra is so potent that it makes the plants look better, makes everything look better. So we go to the third battle. It's Hagakure and Izumi. She's cheering on the inside. Hagakure asked Izumi to make her a special pair of clothes. And Izumi did so to her reluctance. And Hagakure didn't know, but she reluctantly made them. But the people who saw her make it were like, why is she so down about making these clothes? Hagakure got the clothes, and Izumi did something. She made a seal that's completely invisible to the naked eye and put it on Hagakure, on her forehead. It made her be able to see herself. And she can give it to other people, but she ain't doing that. So Hagakure tells everybody that she's wearing her hero outfit. And they all look at her like she's crazy, and she goes, "Don't worry, I had a special person make my sport gear, which is clothes made out of my own hair that are completely invisible." So, yeah. So technically, I'm fully dressed. Visibly, I'm still naked. And Izumi's just in the corner sulking, drawing a spiral in the ground because she can't see what she wanted to see. Yes, she's a little bit of a pervert. Thank you, Arosani. So, during the middle of the explanation, that's when she had to explain her costume. But during the third round, Izumi, yes, Izumi, is like, I want to make this difficult for you. So one of them has the seal on their back. They don't know they have the seal on the back. but one of them can see you. I want you to treat this as if both of them can see you, and try to stay as either low to the ground, high to the ceiling, or just in the shadows. Because we don't know if anybody else has a quirk like mine to see you, has the ability to make something that will see you, or has thermal goggles that will allow them to see you. So, that is your training for today. And during the entire time, All Might's like, wait, she allowed people to see her? She's completely confused. But it is Bakugo and Ida versus both of them. Ida does not know, but he currently has a tag on the back of his helmet. It's sunk into the helmet, so only when he has his helmet on he can see her. And it's signaled to his DNA, so if he's not wearing the helmet, no one can see her. Besides Izumi and Hagakure herself. So Hagakure goes, okay, so you want me to practice stealth even though I'm completely invisible? And she goes, yes. And she goes, one of their masks is holding a seal that allows them to see you. I'm not telling you which one, but one of their masks. And she goes, okay. So my job is to touch the bomb. She goes, yes. And if you have to, you can use the pockets I gave you in the back of your t-shirt or the front of your t-shirt. And she goes, okay. So she takes off her shoes and puts them in the back pockets of her shirt. And yes, they're very durable pockets. And she took off her gloves and put them in the front pockets. So she goes, okay, I'm ready. Izumi points at the camera and gives a thumbs up. All Might's like, it's only been like 2 minutes. They're already ready. He looks at the hero team, and Baku's already patrolling the building, and goes, okay, is villain team's ready? Because apparently hero team is ready. And villain team, and Baku gives a thumbs up. He knows that he ain't going to win, but he going to give it his all. So, they fight. He loses. But right when he loses, hero team wins. And Ida's like, what? What? He turns around, sees a glove attached to Hagakure. He goes, wait, I can see you. And she goes, so you're the one she gave the tag to. Okay, makes sense. You're too of a stickler for the rules to actually use it, so I'm fine with it. And puts on her gloves and her shoes. And walks out. Bakugo's like, damn it, I can't beat you. And she goes, nobody can beat me. Except for my teachers. Because they're fucking monsters. But anyway, we go another 3 weeks in. It's the USJ. Izumi told her father, Death Arms, or adoptive father, not biological, that she has a bad feeling about today. Death Arms knows that her feelings are not just that it went off things. So he calls up his agency and says, you remember that time I told you that something may happen because I trust my daughter's guts? They go, yeah. Her gut's acting up again. I suggest we either bump up security in our district, which he patrols the district where he lives, or we send more people with them to the USJ. Like, I don't want us to look weak, so I'm going to call up more other hero agencies and send more people to the USJ with Nezu's permission. Nezu gets a call from Death Arm's agency and goes, okay, remember that time that thing happened and that guy got hurt? Well, we had someone predict it, and the person is predicting another incident. So I called up a few agencies that are friends of ours and are sending more people with you guys to the USJ. We sent some heavy hitters and we sent some support people or rescue people, so they can see the difference between, so they can also learn if nothing happens. But we also told them to bump up security around their area, because this will happen. Her gut's not wrong. Nezu's like, okay. Calls up Aizawa and goes, there's going to be some more people joining you. It's not just going to be you, 13, and All Might. He goes, okay. Who are they? So he gives out a list of names and says, apparently, Mirio and Night Eye are joining. And he goes, okay. This is strange, but okay. So Mirio and Night Eye join them. A few other heroes, including, but not limited to, Mirko, Seal, the guy that Froppy interned with, Gran Torino, God, what was her name? Rukyu. There's a few others that I was just thinking about. But as I was like, since we're going to have so many teachers, well, so many heroes, let's bring one B along. So Vlad comes along with his class. Monema's spouting out nonsense, and Monema taps Izumi's arm. He taps Izumi's arm. And immediately gets a little, basically, backlash from using his quirk. And he faints immediately. And she's pulled into her mindscape by Kuruma, Naruto, Hashirama, and Ashura. And Monema goes into her mindscape and is like, what the hell is this place? And Izumi appears right in front of him and goes, you can't take what's mine. What's mine is mine. You can't take it. And he gets snapped out of his mindscape, well, out of her mindscape, and she goes back to walking. This happened in a split second. He falls flat on his face because he's still fainted. And only Kendo, Setsuna, and Hagakure notice. Hagakure walks up to her and asks, what happened? It looked like your eyes glazed over for a second. She goes, that little jerkwad tried to steal my quirk. Well, technically not steal, but copy. My quirk is part sentient. So it kind of brought his mind into my head and so on. So give him like 10, 20 minutes and he'll be back out and ready to mess with us again. So they get to the USJ and the villains attack. They didn't set off the alarm to declare war because Tomura's like, yeah, there's just too much to do, so I can't do this, and I have to keep recruiting. So he's slightly smarter in this one, but not too smart. So we go to when he brings out the Nobu. All the heroes are currently fighting the smaller villains. Izumi feels disgusted. The Nomu's walking out of the portal. She shivers, and her Byakugan flares, her cloak flares, she releases her entire pressure, and just glares at Tomura. And her soft voice, yes, it's soft at this point, says the dead are supposed to rest in peace. You have defiled the dead, and I will not save you from the Shinigami's wrath. She blitzes the Nomu faster than anybody can see, faster than anybody can recognize. The Nomu is now on the ground, turning back into human. Everybody's just confused about this. She walks right up to Kurogiri and goes, "What happened to you? You're not dead, nor are you alive." She immediately taps his forehead. The fog vanishes, even though he's still going to be able to make it. But the fog vanishes. And yes, Aizawa's friend is still Kurogiri. But Kurogiri doesn't remember anything. He just knows that he now has a human form, and he says thank you. And Tomura's like, "Kurogiri, get us out of here." And he goes, "No." The slave collar's gone. So no. A portal opens up under Tomura, and basically a head comes out. And in this soft, sickening, sweet voice is like, "You're interesting. Maybe my doctor can dissect you to tell us what you know." And she looks at him and goes, "No. No. No. Not ever gonna happen." So the heroes take down all the villains, and All Might, yes, All Might was there, but he's still on basically medical leave, so he couldn't buff up. So he just called himself Toshinori Yagi, a retired hero. So he helped take them into custody. When he saw All For One, he clenched his teeth so hard that he was about to crack his teeth. But he didn't. So yeah. We go to the next day. Everybody's at home recuperating from the day. Aizawa, Nezu, and All Might are like, due to a report from a basically helpful source, a reliable source, we were able to basically stop a crisis from happening. To stop anybody from getting hurt. That is why yesterday, this is all on the news, That is why yesterday everybody was bolstered. Everybody, you had this edge on that. They're all on the edge because this report from this reliable source has helped us in the past and will continue to help us in the future. And we hope that you guys will appreciate these days when we're actively searching for the issue that is going to happen instead of just waiting for the response. And then All Might walks up to the stage. He's buffed up, and she is pissed. And he's just there for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes saying, "We are heroes. We are normally response heroes. We respond to danger. We don't anticipate danger, but when there are those heroes that have that capability, we must protect them. So no, we will not tell you who this person is. No, they will not ask for any of the credit. And no, we will not order them to show their face. This hero," and yes, they are a hero, because it is not part of their quirk, it is just their instinct that tells us that these are happening. And it's been right. I think it was 10 out of 10 times. So, we're going to continue to rely on people like that. We hope you can respect their privacy if you do find them out. But we are going to do all we can to make sure that they cannot be found out. And I am the #1 hero, the symbol of peace. But I'm not going to be here forever. It's people like the ones that gave us this information that I rely on for the next generation. I rely on them for the next generation so they can keep the peace. And he goes on this spiel, and it's been like 2-3 minutes, and she's getting more and more pissed that he's buffed up. He went on this spiel about how he's #1 and he wishes for a successor. Then he says, "I don't want another symbol of peace." Everybody just looks at him deadpan. He goes, "I don't want just a symbol of peace. I want a symbol of hope. I want multiple pillars to hold up this society and say, we are here to save the little people. We are here to help who isn't able to help themselves. I wish for a symbol of hope. I wish for a symbol of kindness. I wish that multiple people can step up in the next generation when I am old enough to retire and leave the mantle to them. Holding this mantle is a big job. And I know there's nobody who's going to be able to keep it up like I did. The symbol of peace ends with me. But the symbols that hold this society will survive." And he walks off the stage. Everybody's just dumbfounded. All for One is laughing in his laboratory, being like, he knows no one's ever going to be able to save people. Well, forever. And when he says that he hopes that there's more than just one symbol, he scoffs. He goes, "There's not going to be that many symbols." Bakugo heard this speech and is just speechless. So Mitsuki leaves him alone for a little bit to digest what All Might said. Masaru left him alone so he can digest what All Might said. And let's go 2 days later. They're back in the classroom. It's a Monday. And Aizawa was like, "We're going back to the USJ today." There's no threat today. This is just a random visit to the USJ. 1B is coming with us. So, yeah. Hopefully we can have a peaceful day today. So they go back to the USJ. They have no villain attack. Thank God. But everybody remembers the villain attack, so they try their hardest. All Might is there. He isn't straining himself very much, but he's still straining himself. And she walks right up to All Might being like, "Where does it hurt?" He goes, "My side and my lungs." And she punches him in the side. And he goes, "Ugh, ow, I'll be back." And he runs off to the recovery girl. And they all look at her like, "Why did you punch the symbol of peace?" She goes, "He had an injury. And he's still straining his lungs. So, they finish the day. Everybody has learned different ways of using their quirks. She does her thing. Asura really can't do anything about her. He told her to not use her quirk one time. She lifted an entire fucking building to save somebody. So, yeah. Asura asked her not to use her quirk. And she's like, "That's just my base strength." And everybody's staring at her. So, we go to another month. It's now the sports festival. And she walks in to the changing room and goes, "I'm not participating," and walks out. Everybody's like, "What?" So they hear on the speakers, may the valedictorian of the first years come out and speak, because she has opted out of being in the sports festival for her classmates. She walks out into the field and she sits down and claps her hands together, and the entire field starts to get greener. Because yes, there is grass in the field. The entire field gets greener. Trees start sprouting, flowers start blooming, and she goes, "This field is now like the next generation. Full of hope, full of peace. Do you see how many trees are here?" Everybody's like, "Yeah, we see the 3 trees." She goes, "We currently only grow 1 in this society. We grow the symbol of hope, well, symbol of peace. That tree grows up drastically, and it is this shining beacon." And she goes, "That is currently our symbol of peace. If that is not taken care of, it slowly starts crumbling away. If that is overloaded, it crumbles even faster. If that is relied on too much, it just completely decays away. We lose it. The next generation and all the students come out of the tunnels at her clone's behest, or not behest, at her clone's signal. The next generation is the gardeners. And she goes into this entire speech of how this generation is the next ones to hold the tools to the garden, to hold the keys to the greenhouse, to hold what keeps this society running together. And how from general studies to the hero course, everybody has their place. General studies may not be the strongest, may not be the fastest, may not be the smartest, but they have their place. Class 1B may not be the strongest, may not have the best quirks, may not even be the fastest, but they have cunning. That is how they got into Class 1B. She looks at Class 1A. This is the best of the best we have. They have cunning, strength, speed, everything. Some more than others, but everybody has their place in this class. And she goes, "I am the valedictorian because I did something that changed this school. I showed how bad the base exam was. And she goes onto a tangent of how she completely obliterated the exam. So people, and she points at Shinso, like Shinso. Hitoshi Shinso could be in class 1A. She looks directly at Higakure. Like, Higakure, I completely forgot what her full name is, could be in class 1A. They don't have fighting quirks. Hitoshi Shinso has a capture quirk, an interrogation quirk, a support quirk. And she goes into the entire rant of how each quirk does not define who the hero is. It's their actions that define who the hero is. The quirk just shows them what they're best at. She immediately points out Bakugo. Bakugo Katsuki. The second strongest in the class. Well, technically third strongest if you go into actual strength. But he currently does not only use half his strength. And they all hear a thud. They all look where it came from, and it's Endeavor getting his face punched in by a wooden hand. She goes, don't, just ignore that. That's just something that happens every once in a while to him. And he just starts getting pissed. And the top of his head gets hit by another hand of wood. And this guy just comes out of the wooden hand. He goes, bad. Bad flaming trash can. Bad. So a newspaper forms in his hand and starts beating Endeavor upside the head with it. And they just hear laughing from a few of the audience members, and they just start, another round of laughter goes around. She goes, even though I'm not participating, I just gave you guys an event. I just helped people here. Some people, and she looks at the crowd, may have been worried. She looks at the students, may have been nervous. And she just looks up. And some of them are just confused. And she just keeps going on. And finally, Midnight walks up behind her and taps her on the shoulder and be like, we gotta get this going. She goes, give me a few minutes. And she keeps on going and going and going. And everybody's like, she's right. We do have to work harder. And she goes, and that is my speech. And walks off. And everybody's like, that ain't a speech. Well, technically it is a speech, but the hell? Endeavor now feels bad. All Might feels great about the next generation. Nezu's pissed off. Because he heard the whole entire thing. And some of the heroes that are currently with the third years on their sports festival are like, okay, why is Nezu pissed? And Nezu's like, I didn't give a good enough speech. She pulls up an app and is currently watching the third year's speech from Nezu and goes, ha! I outdid his speech! So she starts napping in the 1A box. And we go to the third round. And it's a few from General, a few from Class 1B, and a few from Class 1A. So people in general, Aoyama, Mineta. Class 1B, Monoma, Tetsu, and Ibara. I don't really know. And from Class 1A, Shoto, Bakugo, and I think it's, Kirishima. Kirishima, Tetsu, Bakugo, and Mineta. Mineta gets thrown out. Aoyama versus Shoto, and Ibara versus what's it? Ibara, Tetsu, and Monoma and Ibara. Monoma, Bakugo, Shoto, and Kirishima. Bakugo and Kirishima. Bakugo wins. Shoto and Monoma. Shoto wins because he has more control over ice and fire. Yes. Izumi got Shoto to work on his fire more. So, we go to last round. Bakugo versus Shoto. All of a sudden, they hear wood release. 4-pillar arena. And all of a sudden, they just see roots growing out of the concrete, reinforcing the concrete so much that not even Cementos can control the cement from within the wood. And he has a much more powerful quirk where he can manipulate any concrete in a 300-meter radius around him. But it takes a lot of concentration. So yeah, it's a little bit more powerful. So, how should I say this next part? I'm going to do that. So, Bakugo and Shoto completely eradicate all life in the arena, except for the 2 trees. The arena was given to them completely. Cementos was taken out of the arena. Midnight was taken out of the arena. They get the entire arena to themselves, except for the 2 trees. The 2 trees were their starting platforms. This time. And Nezu's currently watching this and going, you know, I should really hire her to do the sports festivals for me. She sneezes and misses a howitzer impact from Bakugo. Because, well, it's funny that she missed a move. And she's like, I wanted to see that. See how big the explosion is. I heard how big it is, but I want to see if it's bigger than her stun gun. And she just starts mumbling to herself, and Hashirama, Asura, and Naruto are all like, she's too much like us. And they both go, yeah. I think we need to stop corrupting her. Then they all laugh, and Kuruma's like, she's like, we're all screwed. Let's just keep watching the destruction. So they keep fighting. And each time they land an attack on each other, each pillar grows. And she's been doing this since the beginning. And finally, Shoto knocks Bakugo out. Shoto's tree, instead of overtaking Bakugo's, looks like it's supporting Bakugo's. Izumi appears in the middle and goes, if anybody's seen what the trees were doing, please keep in mind that pillars aren't solo. All Might, he needed people to help build up his pillar. He needs people to maintain his pillar. So guess what? Shoto, Bakugo, and myself are the most promising students in the sports festival. And we're going to keep it that way. We're going to work our absolute hardest to keep going where All Might has left off. All Might has left us a world of peace. And we're going to nurture that world. Shoto gets the first spot, and Bakugo gets second. Kirishima and Monoma get third. And they're both grinding their teeth. Well, Kirishima's grinding his teeth because, well, he kind of hurt himself, and now he's too manly to go to cover a girl. So she walks right up to him and taps him in the forehead. And he goes, boom. She goes, that's why you go to recovery, girl. And starts healing him to where he's fine to stand up. He stands up and is like, okay, I'm good. And she goes, right after you get your medal, go to recovery, girl. She looks at Monoma and goes, thank you for going to recovery, girl, and respecting the nurse and the people who keep you up. He goes, okay. You're kind of scary. And she goes, that's a good thing for you. Midnight tells them how wonderful they did and who's going to come. And All Might does his hero entry. And Izumi gives All Might the medals, being like, you forgot these on your desk. He just looks a little sheepish going, as you said once, I'm not the only person keeping this pillar up. I'm the man who holds up the sky. They keep the pillar underneath me. I can't do this job by myself. I rely on other heroes for where I can't be at all points in time. So he gives a basically emotional and motivational speech to all the heroes of, you need to work harder. He looks directly at Endeavor and goes, some of you need to take a break of hero work for a little bit, maybe like a day or two, to fix your broken lives, but hopefully you can. Then they hear a dark laugh. They hear a dark laugh, and a man comes flying down from the sky. And Izumi looks at All Might and goes, isn't that the same guy that stole that one dude from whatchamacallit so I can run away? Live to fight another day? And All Might's like, what? Is the guy with the mask that took Shigaraki back to his hideout? He goes, yes. And she goes, isn't he that secret villain that you guys try to keep off the news, but leaks every once in a while? Well, before 6 years ago, because apparently you defeated him? He goes, yes. All Might. He goes, yes. Do I have your permission to use my quirk? And this is all still on live television. And he goes, yes. She goes, thank you. Immediately activates her quirk completely. And blitzes. All for one. Goes behind him and pokes him in the back. He falls down, crumpled on the ground. She goes, there you go. Comes down and be like, he's currently paralyzed from the waist down, and I severed his quirk gene. And everybody looks at her like she's crazy, and she goes, what? I have intensive knowledge of both robotics, mechanics, or tech. I have extensive knowledge in robotics. Basically everything. I have extensive knowledge because I can clone myself and have them study so I can get all the knowledge. So I kind of have high DNA thingies and so on. So I kind of cut his quirk gene off. Always like, you're one scary little girl. And she goes, this actually isn't my true height. I kind of put gravity seals so I can stay short for a little bit longer. Because being short is a lot better than being my normal height. He goes, okay, how big is your normal height? 6'5". And he goes, but you're 5 foot. She goes, yeah. I like my current clothes. That's why I didn't want to show my real height, because then I have to get new clothes, and that's just a pain in the butt. So, see you later, All Might. She darts off. And All Might's like, she's definitely going to be a pillar in the future. So, yes, I know. That was one abrupt end. But this is just to be funny. One abrupt end. Kuruma gave her the Byakugan. Technically, Kuruma gave her the Tensegan via Otsutsuki Homura, Haguromo's brother. Homura gave Kuruma the genetic sequence for Otsutsuki's and his Byakugan, so he can give her the Tensegan. Yeah, she's stupid overpowered. My throat's hoarse. This is a one shot, one kill, kind of. So if you guys like this, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting. I'm currently working on the overhaul. Oh God, what is the name? Overlord. What if? Where I'm an Overlord. So yeah. Yeah. Well, have a great rest of the day. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Talk to you guys later. Comment, like, subscribe. I've told you that like twice already. I'm going to try to get a Discord link in the description. If I don't, go on my old videos. There's probably a Discord link back then. I'm going to try to start recording more often for you guys. I still have a job. I'm most likely going to be getting another job, a different job, sooner or later, because of insurance and adulting. I freaking hate adulting. But hopefully you guys enjoy. Talk to you guys later. Goodbye, my fellow humans.